Ready to head to Cassidon's Hold?
Still need more time.
I'm here when you're ready. Don't take too long.
supposed to be information on Lucia's various projects. There are a lot of redactions here. Seems like someone was trying to hide something. It's a report blaming the Verdant Mines for an explosion near the Vale. Supposedly, this explosion was the cause of the cyclical miasma floods. But we know that the floods were caused by Asylum. This doesn't add up. So what did we find out? Any big revelations? What's wrong?
This isn't what I expected at all. I think you need to read this yourself.
Well, sure, but... all right. This is one of Lucia's journals, right?
Yes.
I washed my hands of it, but they pressed onwards. He was fully aware of what I taught them, of course. What I'd taken from the Institute. And so, he let it happen. He knew they were going to try to pierce the veil, and now dozens are dead. He knew Vile. Broke bread with them. But when they and the rest of the Verdant Minds went off to die, Kenrick just watched.
And now read this. A transcript of one of his speeches, delivered around the same time that journal entry was written.
We will root out these dissenter vermin at all levels of administration. Their ideology has claimed too many lives to be allowed to breathe free. In the meantime, to ensure peace and prosperity, martial law is in effect across remaining settlements. So he let the explosion happen, and used it for his own political gain. Wow. He's a real piece of work.
He didn't exactly engineer this, but he isn't innocent either. He sat back and allowed the Verdant Minds to try breaking through the veil. Then they unintentionally triggered a huge explosion, conveniently wiping themselves out in the process. And just like that, the Eye had a scapegoat on whom to blame the cyclical miasma floods. He used panic and fear to secure himself a spot as provisional leader. But everyone eventually forgot that provisional bit. I genuinely didn't expect this at all. I thought I'd find out that he'd just been mildly conniving all his life, not this.
So, what do we do about this then?
We need to confront him. He may be the Enclave's leader, but we can still take him to task on what he's covered up.
Wait, what? You really think that'll work?
Yes. I'll present him with our evidence, and he'll have to give us an explanation.
I'm open to the idea. But what makes you think he'll want to speak to us?
I'm confident in my powers of persuasion. I may be young, but a lifetime spent orbiting the seats of power in Judea, well, let's just say that I know how to appeal to a politician's better judgment.
Well, I trust your judgment.
Excellent. I'll finish writing this dossier, and I'll meet you in Cassidon's Hold. Have faith.
It's not you who I'm lacking faith in. Trust me. Anyway, I'll see you at the Hold.
I won't be long.
Talk about your family, Silla.
I don't have much family to talk about anymore. They all passed away.
Why do I feel as if I'm about to have my time wasted?
Please allow me to present my research. I promise it won't take but a moment. I've compiled a dossier concerning an event that occurred in the Enclave around 35 years ago.
And what event would that be, pray tell?
The attempt to pierce the veil. I can only assume you were familiar with the Verdant Minds.
The name rings a bell, though it's been decades, as you said.
They were the subject of many of your speeches. It's interesting that your memory on the subject is hazy.
You'll forgive me for not remembering the exact wording or subject of any of the hundreds of speeches I've delivered throughout my career.
That's not a problem. I can summarize my findings. Firstly, our evidence suggests, with a high level of confidence, that you were aware of the Verdant Mind's plans to pierce the veil. Secondly, in support of that assertion, you gained this knowledge through your close relationship with the enchantress known as Lucia.
I never knew any enchantress by that name.
That's odd. since you seem to have been a recurring character in her personal journals. Though, truth be told, she didn't seem particularly fond of you in the later entries. So, back to the attempt to pierce the veil. You knew...
I knew that it would go poorly.
You knew?
Of course I did. But what does it matter?
You could have stopped it.
But I didn't. Pray tell, Lawkeeper. What goal did you hold in your mind as you traveled here?
I wanted to learn the truth about the past, to uncover what had been hidden.
Lane Free Selectus. That's who you are, yes?
That's correct. Though, I'm not sure how... never mind. But my research...
House Lectus of Judea. It's no wonder you felt the need to make something of yourself. Well, today will not be that day. Nor, I believe, will any. I won't waste my breath debating a jumped-up little snot from a house so consumed by cupidity that it can't even keep its hearths lit. Once a failure of a house, always a failure of a house. And it shows in your insipid rag parading as research.
Did you just call me a jumped-up little snot?
No, I didn't. You must have misheard me.
I...
Will that be all from you? I have other matters to attend to.
I've had enough from you. There's no point in trying to argue with the rubbish coming out of your mouth. Lane deserves better than this. And they won't find it here. Let's just go, Lane.
Yes. I'll see you back at camp.
I hear you've been accessing our supply caches in the underworks.
Not exactly. I've just been clearing the way for the scouts, as per the Axel's request. She says you've been short on supplies for quite some time.
Then there's no problem at all. Assuming you're telling the truth, that is.
No reason to lie. My band's work with the Axel benefits all of us. She gives us knowledge, and we help out everywhere we can. Win-win.
In time, your true intentions will reveal themselves. And first impressions have not served you well. Congratulations on successfully recalibrating the loom gates. It's an impressive achievement, considering your thimble broke the harness and prevented us from resetting the loom gate connections. Helping with this initiative was the least you could do for us.
It's amazing what happens when we pool our resources.
Normally, I would impose sanctions on the Axel for inviting an outsider to access the harness. A rather grave breach of protocol, if I'm being honest. But thankfully for her, this aligns with our upcoming security efforts.
And what efforts would those be?
Confidential, I'm afraid.
Oh, Bryn. You were right about the requisitions.
Obviously.
I can't even begin to explain how I feel. This is a disaster.
Should I have fought him harder?
I wanted so very badly to rage at him, to tell him exactly what I thought of his decades of connivances, but truthfully, it reminded me of why I left.
Home.
Everything back there was all about your house. Your actions or intent never mattered. And when I tried to forge a different path in life, the knives came out. I had no real choice but to leave. I thought I had left it all in my past, but now, here we are.
For years, no matter how hard I trained, my last mentor, Aaron, told me I wasn't strong enough to be a point. When he eventually named one of his friends, Aram, the Weaver Band's new point, I was gutted. Even though he had no training, Aaron tried to convince me it made sense. Aram is just physiologically stronger than me. Of course, I took the first chance to get out after that. Just like you did. But until then, as much as I tried to ignore what Aaron was saying, a part of me was afraid he was right. Sometimes, when you're told the same thing over and over, you can't help but wonder if it's true. So, what I'm trying to say is that this guy has found his way inside your head. But that'll pass, and it doesn't reflect on the quality of your research.
I appreciate that. I'll try to internalize it. But for now, I think I just need to consider my next moves. It might take a while.
Take all the time you need.
Thanks, Bryn.
The Bastion. Lane said to look for regiment records. These are the regiment records Lane asked for. My father told me stories about how instrumental the Oberon were in the wars for Carnhaven's independence. They would glide behind enemy lines and strike with precision. A detailed list of all scries exported from the Enclave. Some marked pending.
Perfect for cross-referencing in our little hunt.
I think we can call that as close as we're going to get. I agree. But good news, Arik. It's likely your caravan didn't leave.
You're sure?
Reasonably. We know which caravan was carrying a sealed case of 2 scries from the Keep records.
There's no log of it departing, and the logs were quite consistent after the surge.
And the Axel had several older drovers who told stories of caravans that lost control of their beasts in the panic. More than a few, sadly, pitched their entire caravan into the newly formed fissure in the lower city.
The runners would have recovered anything that important years ago were it still by the gate.
Suggesting the scries might have gone over the edge. Bryn, I hate to ask, but
I can take a look. Absolutely.
just be careful. The tangles get thick down there.
What have you got for us, Lane?
I've narrowed it down to 3 likely candidates. A Hallowpire priest, a farmer, and the last military commander prior to the evacuation to Cassidon's Hold.
A military commander sounds promising. How do we narrow down which of those 3 is my father?
That's where we step away from the books and do some investigating. Bryn?
I'll check the garrison, the market, and the Hallowpire Rise for any traces of these Oberon. These are the commander's quarters. I should look for anything that might point to him being Oria's father.
Find something?
Looks like love letters between the commander and many women who are not your mother, dating back pre-surge.
Oh.
Don't worry, I'll keep looking. Lane believes that a priest could have been responsible. I'd better look around. Found a diary belonging to the priest.
Anything of note written inside?
From a quick skim, it details his vow to pledge himself to the first flame. And only the first flame.
Ah, I see.
I'll look elsewhere.
Hold on, hold on.
This was where the farmer Lane mentioned was selling his crops. I should look around. A pair of silver glasses with an intricate cloth connecting them. Enchanted.
Could it be? Bryn, please. Bring those back to camp.
Of course.
Should be close to where the scry-carrying caravan might have gone over the edge.
I'll have a look. Good news, Eric.
I can see. That's quite possibly our lost scries.
Will you be able to retrieve it?
Now that we've identified it, yes.
Have you taken a closer look at the glasses I found in the farmer's stand?
I can hardly believe it. My mother's craftwork is unmistakable. Enchanted to adjust with degrading vision.
So we found your father! Lane's notes mentioned his name was Eugenius Osphine.
I guess so.
I thought you'd be happy.
No, I am.
Aurea, what's really going on? Be honest.
I thought I came from a long line of weavers. Now... Never mind.
Aurea.
I need to be alone right now.
Hey. I just wanted to say, I'm here for you when...
When I'm ready, I know. I'm still not ready to talk, but thank you.
I can't believe we actually did it. It's been a pleasure working with your band. If we could match the drive and efficiency you all show, this place would be fixed in months.
Frankly, this is the life, isn't it? The thrill of discovery. The moments where the risks pay off. I don't want to just idle. There's so much to do and see in here. So keep the challenges coming.
You've got a deal. Even if you do make me miss my field days.
Just hop on our superior scry. It's just like you're there. Only you don't get clawed by drakes.
True. I do not miss that part. I'll get the runners on hauling that crate up and let you know when I know more.
did he know?
Lane, are you all right?
I'm just rattled. I never told you, or anyone else, my full name. Not because I didn't want you to know, or because I thought you'd judge me, just that I'm allowed to hold information back.
And the Eye threw it at you like he'd known you your whole life.
Yes, and he accurately described the state of my house, too. Which is not a secret, particularly, but...
I wonder how he knew.
That's the very question that's been torturing me. As far as I know, we're the only people to ever make it through the Veil, and I was most certainly born after it was raised. There's no other way for information or news to make it through.
Before you ask, it wasn't me who told him.
But that raises the question, doesn't it? Who among us betrayed our trust? And how do they even know in the first place?
To be honest with you, I don't love the idea that we've got someone in our midst sharing information like that. I can't think of anyone in our camp who might intentionally hurt you. But that doesn't make it okay. When we find out who did this, I think you're owed an apology.
Yes, I suppose we'll need to keep our eyes open. Stay vigilant, Bryn.
Teams are already working on the recovery of that chest you found.
Think we'll get lucky and it'll be the Scries?
I'm allowing myself a glimmer of hope. All the research we did says it's possible. My teams have started to deploy with the recovered gear from the Institute. Like a pebble starting a rock slide. Each team's able to clear more, recover more, and with that gear, we send more teams. Only downside is that the Eye's got us on a priority hunt for some really esoteric resources. True to form, he won't tell us why. Just, you'll be informed of the purpose when the time is correct, Arik.
The Eye has been using Sev for what seems like loom gate repair. Does that mean anything to you?
He has asked my teams to scout and coordinate defensive positions around the gates recently. Could be related, but I'm not sure how. The Eye's definitely got some kind of plan. I just wish he would share it with literally anyone. But mostly me. It's my people putting their lives on the line after all. Regardless, we'll do the best we can. And thanks to you, we've got a fighting chance now. You've stirred up quite a bit of trouble.
Oh?
I've just read the brief from the last council meeting. The Eye is facing united opposition. Everyone's calling for him to make a move against the Surgeborn. Keep your weapons close, Bryn. I heard you and Sola confronted Sev in the hold. Everything, go well?
Sola did most of the talking. Handled it well. And then she used his full name to make her point.
Oh, poor guy. Well, whatever's happening, it's got the Eye excited. He's been moving supplies to the Grand Gate, and Sev's been seen down there too. It's a loom gate large enough for the Great Arcs. I'm still not sure why. He's seconded some enchanters and crafters and sworn them to secrecy. They basically live in a camp down there.
Might be trying to repair it. Sev has a knack for understanding how to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, but why? It bothers me no one seems to know except the Eye. Remember my missing runner you found in the upper city?
One of the siblings with the hidden cache. I do.
Yes. One of my group heads got a little paranoid. He's since been dealt with. Anyway, I have a conundrum. We recovered the body. Thank you for that, by the way.
I noticed there's no dead anywhere in the Enclave.
There were. Tens of thousands right after the Surge, and another wave after the Surgeborn attacks before Asylum. We found everyone we could and gave them rights. Took years. Anyway, the problem now is I have a dead runner who broke all kinds of rules, and I'm not entirely sure how to handle it. The group heads need to know this happened. That's a given. But do I tell all the scouts? They could learn something from it.
If I were you, I'd get in front of this. Word's going to get around eventually, if it hasn't already. Face it head on. Be honest. People will be concerned at first, but in the long run, they'll appreciate the transparency.
Right. Let them hear it from me and the whole story. Yes, there was a problem. Yes, it's been dealt with. Might upset a few, but in the end, it'll build trust. Appreciate the advice, Bryn. Always good to get another perspective on these things. I just wish the siblings had talked to me before they felt they had to sneak around. Bryn, have I ever told you you're a genuinely impressive person?
Thanks. What brought that on?
Oria told me the story about you joining the band. Sounds like your last one was awful, but you stuck with it.
In comparison, joining Oria's group was like that first nice day after a brutal winter.
That's probably more relatable if I grew up in a mountain pass, huh?
No feeling like it. Temperatures that would have felt awful in autumn feel like a summer's day. And there's this endless, soft, watery trickle of everything melting.
Sounds incredible. Think you'll go back?
I have to. My mum and I did not part on the best terms. And while we've made up in letters, I owe her the biggest hug. And I want my dad to see how far I've come. Don't think he expected me to take up the sword, but he's always been supportive.
Maybe I could tag along. I feel like I've been denied something being literally stuck in here.
I don't know how comfortable I'd be sneaking the head of the scouts out of the Enclave. I know it's got to be tempting to leave that duty, but these people do need you.
Yeah, that's the truth. Sometimes wish it weren't, but you're right. Oh well, maybe someday I'll go traveling. If we ever get the veil down, that is.